I wanted to welcome all of you to an event that highlights one of the issues which dominates the life of this region, affects the lives of virtually all of our faculty and staff, and certainly and most directly our students. The reason so many of our students and faculty came, an overflow audience, is that the issues of poverty and inequality are central issues in their lives. Many of our students are struggling. Many of their families are either in poverty or very close to it. The cost of living in Silicon Valley, the cost of housing in Silicon Valley, the cost of transportation in Silicon Valley, inadequate wages, particularly at the low end of the spectrum, all of that combines to make the charts and presentation of the Joint Venture Silicon Valley report quite live and real in the lives of our students.
This is a splendid place to gather. It's such a beautiful campus. More importantly than that, it's such an important campus, such a vital part of the Silicon Valley ecosystem. Our purpose is to talk substantively about poverty and income inequality. So now to brief us, the author of these two reports, John Haveman.
Poverty is something that is not discussed very much. Inequality plays a much larger role in both local and national conversations than poverty. Poverty and inequality are intricately linked together.
The report was a really excellent example of applied social science, of what happens when you have serious intellectual work focused on an issue which is dominantly in the media, the question of inequality. What does that actually mean? How has it changed over the last several years? And the report put in front of us numbers to the general impression that inequality is getting worse. It's getting worse in this region, and here's how much. The good news about the report is it ended on policy recommendations. It ended on things we could actually do to try to ameliorate the growing disparity between wealth and poverty.
And a policy that has the top 1% of the wealth distribution gaining 42% of all wealth and 22% of all income is not a policy choice that I would make. Okay, thank you very much.
Many of our students are involved in multiple campaigns to address poverty, homelessness, food insecurity, transportation, housing. More and more de Anza students are involved in those campaigns because they directly affect their neighborhoods, their families, their entire community.
I think I started noticing a lot like intersectionalities of issues with income inequality, and I think that's something that we need to continue to talk about, the intersectionality of wealth inequality, of opportunity inequality, and the connection that has with income inequality.
One of the important outcomes of having had the event on the campus is there is increased conversation across the campus of the actual political work that's happening all across the valley to address questions of inequality.
One big thing that I learned from all of this is the power of organizing, and how, like, just to echo what some of the panelists have saying, we need to look at intersectionality, as in how does this problem of income equality relate to wealth inequality, relate to also race, class, and gender. As you can see, this issue of income inequality affects communities of color and affects women much more drastically than they do to the general population. And we have to keep that in mind.
We have a very deeply committed group of students. They are committed to their own careers and lives, but they are also committed to social justice. They're committed to their communities. They're committed to their families having a better future. This report becomes part of that agenda, part of their effort to build a more sustainable Silicon Valley.